Let's think about something for a sec. Imagine a future, maybe not too far off, where, traditional finance isn't just sort of testing the waters with blockchain anymore, but really diving in headfirst. But without all the usual hype. Instead, focusing hard on compliance, usefulness in the real world, actual integration. What does that actually look like? Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving into. We've got a stack of sources here, and a key one is an article by Bruce Stewart, dated just recently, June 26, 2025. And it digs into this really ambitious ecosystem being built by a company called Metallicus. They seem to be genuinely trying to connect those two worlds. So our mission for this deep dive: let's unpack how Metallicus is putting together this whole digital banking network. I mean, everything self-custody wallets, lending, stablecoins, even layer 2 scaling solutions. And the crucial part, it's all being done with a really strong eye on, regulation and practical use. We'll look at the people behind it, the main products, and how they're trying to build, not just talk about, the future of finance. All right, so to start us off, what is Metallicus really? According to what we're seeing, they're the company behind the Metal blockchain and this big idea they call the digital banking network, TDBN for short.
Yeah, and what seems to make them stand out right from the get-go is the sheer scale of their ambition. It's not just let's launch a crypto app. It's about crafting an entire interconnected system. They're really aiming for the whole package, letting you hold your own assets securely, setting up lending systems, creating stable coins. It's more than just new tools. It feels like they're trying to rethink the basic financial plumbing using blockchain.
An entire ecosystem. Oh, wow. That sounds incredibly complex, especially, when so many projects kind of fizzle out after launching just one thing. So who is actually steering this ship? Who are the key people building TDBM? Let's talk about Marshall Hayner first, CEO and co-founder. Our sources paint him as, a real crypto old-timer, active since the early Bitcoin days, and a serial entrepreneur too, right? Things like QuickCoin, that social Bitcoin wallet, and he apparently helped boost projects like Stellar, Dogecoin, even Block.io early on.
Right, and what's really interesting about Marshall's approach, reading between the lines, is this long game he's been playing with compliance. Even back when maybe that wasn't the cool path in crypto. He's been talking for ages about bringing regulated real-world banking onto the blockchain. His vision isn't about, the next quick flip. It seems to be about blending ease of use, forward-looking tech, and sticking to the rules to build things people can actually use. He seems genuinely motivated by this idea of financial freedom, self-ownership of assets, and making banking tools accessible decentrally. It's a quote here. He says, "The future of banking is borderless, decentralized, and built on blockchain. We're not waiting for it. We're building it." Pretty bold, but his track record does give it some weight.
And it's quite a record. Under him, Metallicus launched Metal Pay, which was, one of the very first compliant crypto payment apps here in the US. Then there's the WebAuth Wallet for decentralized ID, like a secure digital passport, basically.
Sort of, yeah. For your online life within their ecosystem and potentially beyond.
Right. And they built the XPR Network and the Metal blockchain itself, specifically designed, it says, for regulated finance. And they didn't stop there, bringing in the loan protocol for lending, the XMT token for analytics and DeFi stuff, and XMD stablecoin. It's a lot of moving parts.
It really is. Which brings us to the practicalities.
Exactly. Building all that takes more than just one visionary founder, especially when you're trying to match old world finance rules with new tech. So how do they handle the money side, the regulations? That seems to be where Irina Berkon, the CFO, comes in. She's flagged in our sources as a key person driving their financial strategy and this whole compliance first thing. She's got, over 20 years in finance, M&A, growing companies?
Yeah, Irina looks like she's really the strategic anchor for that compliance vision. She's been crucial in architecting Metallicus's regulatory structure, making sure the products actually meet the standards, which keep changing, of course. That's absolutely vital if you want banks and institutions to even look at you. Her role seems to be very much about building trust, acting as a bridge, helping Metallicus talk to banks, financial institutions, maybe even governments who are thinking, okay, how do we use blockchain, but safely, compliantly? And one concrete example mentioned is their multi-signature treasury system.
Okay. What's significant about that?
Well, it's not just tech jargon. It basically mimics the kind of security checks you see in traditional banking, needing multiple approvals for transactions. It builds in controls that institutions understand and require.
That makes sense. Making their own internal systems look familiar, feel safer to the traditional players?
Precisely. And her philosophy, quoted here, really sums up a bigger shift. The hype days of crypto are over. Now it's about substance compliance, transparency, and real-world usability. I mean, that quote alone tells you a lot about where the serious end of the market is heading. It's not just about cool tech demos anymore. It's about making it work reliably and legally in the world we actually live in.
Okay, that's a perfect lead-in to the actual nuts and bolts. The building blocks of this TDBN ecosystem, let's list them out. The core assets mentioned are XPR, the main coin for the XPR network, loan for the lending side. XMT, that's their data, DeFi, and infrastructure token, kind of the fuel.
Yeah, fuel for dApps and data access on their chain, basically.
Got it. And XMD, the metal dollar, their stablecoin, built for speed and compliance.
And importantly, these aren't just separate coins floating around. They're all meant to work together within their product suite. You mentioned the WebAuth Wallet. It's not just storage. It's about that secure identity piece across their services. Then MetalX and MetalX lending for the trading and borrowing functions. MetalPay, the payment app, and its API are still key for easy transactions. And holding it all up is the Metal blockchain, plus Metal L2 for scaling.
That layer 2 is probably essential for handling serious volume, right? For institutions.
Absolutely. You need that throughput. And the Metal Dollar stablecoin, XMD, helps tie payments and value transfer together compliantly. It's how all these pieces connect and interact, that network effect that they hope makes it a genuine ecosystem, not just, a toolbox.
So it's designed to function like a whole regulated financial system built on blockchain. And this isn't just on paper, is it? They have this thing called the Metal Blockchain Banking Innovation Program members. What's that about?
Yeah, that program seems like a really big deal for them. It's specifically set up compliance first for financial institutions, think credit unions, banks,
Right.
to basically get their hands dirty, experiment with blockchain use cases within their own operations, but in a safe, guided way.
What kind of use cases?
Things like using stablecoins for quicker settlements between institutions, using digital identity for better KYC or security, maybe even offering crypto services to their own customers through a crypto-as-a-service model. All within this framework that Metallicus provides, which is designed to be secure and meet regulatory needs. And what's really telling is the feedback mentioned that credit unions in America specifically love working with the program.
Wow, love working with it. From credit unions, that is saying something. They're usually pretty cautious.
Exactly. They're not just ticking a box. They might actually be solving real problems for these institutions.
Okay, so bringing it back to you, our listener, you're here to get those quick, deep insights. Why should this Metallicus story matter? What's the key takeaway?
I think the real nugget here is that Metallicus isn't just, predicting the future of finance. They seem to be actively trying to build the actual rails for it, starting now. And crucially, doing it with this intense focus on compliance and regulation from the start. This isn't some Wild West crypto play. It feels much more methodical, why it matters to you. Because this kind of approach could be the blueprint for how blockchain actually gets integrated into the everyday banking system. It points towards a future where maybe managing your money, sending funds overseas, maybe even borrowing becomes faster, cheaper, more open.
Yeah.
Powered by these kinds of networks running underneath. It shows a potential path for banks and traditional players to move from just being curious about blockchain to actually using it.
Right. So wrapping up our deep dive today, Metallicus is clearly focused on building out this whole digital banking network, aiming for comprehensive, compliant, and practical. Driven by leaders who seem to have a vision beyond just the initial crypto excitement, looking towards something sustainable and integrated.
Yeah, and that vision leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If this focus on compliance and working with institutions rather than against them actually works, if it speeds up blockchain adoption in regular banking, how might that change your financial life down the road? The article ends with that line, "The future of finance is being built right now, block by block." We're thinking about what that future might look like and what new possibilities or maybe even challenges it could bring for all of us.